This video is not for the weak or the selfish, but for everyone else. This will be the secret to your success. How many times have you caught yourself saying, "What is wrong with me? Why am I so terrible at this?" And the most dreaded one is, "I hate myself." How many times have you said it out loud? Have you even said it in front of other people? I'm Eric with Leadership Development. This week we're going to talk about negative self-talk, what the root of it comes from, what are the damages it does to you as a leader, and what are the tips that will help you overcome this negative self-inflicted wound. The root of negative self-talk comes from two areas. The first is high, unrealistic expectations. These are the things like goals that are set way out of your capability. And it just creates an unnecessary stress because you are not recognizing what is realistic and what is unrealistic. And it overwhelms you. And it makes you start talking poorly to yourself because you didn't achieve a certain goal at a certain time, instead of setting those nice, good intermediate goals that help you reinforce with positivity for yourself. The second area is social pressures and your perceived expectations of what you think society wants out of you. It doesn't help when we look at social media, the news, of all these people who've done great things, who had attained great successes. We don't pay attention to the blood, sweat, and tears that went in during their journey that you are going through right now. Now that we talked about where this, what causes it, let's talk about the damage it does to you. What the damage does to your leadership. First, your team, your organization will start losing trust in you. The reason is because if you're loudly saying how much you're terrible or how much of a failure you are, what's going to happen when they bring up a problem to you? They're going to feel like they're going to get yelled at much worse than what you do to yourself. And they don't want to approach you with the bad information. I had to learn this the hard way. When I was a flight student, I used to be the worst person about getting down on myself. I would say out loud to the crew of how terrible I am at doing this stuff. First, it erodes the trust in me to have the controls. It made people scared that they're not going to be safe if I'm not liking the landings I'm doing. They're not going to feel safe if I have no confidence in my abilities to fly us safely, because they can't take over the controls. They have to sit there as a passenger hoping that they don't die. No matter how many of my flight instructors, other pilots, came to me and told me, "Hey, stop doing that, you're hurting yourself," without really telling me why. It wasn't until I was at advanced combat training where one of the crew chief instructors, the guys in back, who pulled me aside and was like, "Hey sir, you really got to stop this negative self-talk, because the students that are going to graduate with you here are going to go to Iraq with you. And they're going to be too scared to tell you that there's something wrong with the aircraft or there's a problem that has to be dealt with, because they're afraid that you're going to yell at them worse than what you do to yourself." And when I realized that what this negative self-talk was doing to others, it made me realize how much I needed to pull back, how much of myself I needed to change. And it wasn't an easy journey, trust me. It took a lot of catching myself in the act to be able to calm down, blow it off a little, just a little, to just say, "Hey, that was ugly, we can do it better next time." Using some type of positive reinforcement of how, yes, I acknowledge that it was we didn't make our mark, but we can still do it better the next time. It increases stress on yourself. I mean, you already feel overwhelmed. Imagine just seeing yourself as a failure after failure after failure. You will be so overwhelmed that you hit panic. And that's not fair to anybody, especially yourself. You'll never believe that you can achieve a goal. I had the same thing growing up as a track runner. I never believed that I could win my first race until I stopped using that negative self-talk. And then once I started talking positively, then believing that I'm capable of doing it, I started winning a lot more than I could count. It decreases your motivation. Why would I want to do something if I feel like I'm just going to fail at it anyway? By being able to take that negativity and making it positivity, you're going to be able to create motivation, because there's nothing worse than false motivation, but at least motivation has to be created from something. And it comes from within you. It comes within you talking in the abilities of what can I do. You'll have difficulties dealing with chronic pains. You're going to blame why you can't do something because of something that hurts, something that just you can't get over. I have this numbness in my hand and I just can't do it. To be honest, I forget that this numbness in my hand's here and I'm going to go do it anyway because I am capable of it. Perfectionism. There's nothing I hate more than the whole total optimization. We need to be perfect at everything. It drives me crazy. It drives your team crazy. They don't want to work for a perfectionist. They want to work for a high achiever, but not a perfectionist. For my engineering friends, humans are fallible. They are not a perfectly designed machine. You are not a perfectly designed machine, no matter how much you look at the input-output ratios. Get over it. And then, not the last, but the really important one is you miss out on seeing the opportunities that are out there. Because you're so focused inward on yourself, you don't look outward at the possibilities of how you can contribute to something great, how you can lead something great. But because you're too busy talking poorly about yourself, you're too busy thinking, what's wrong with me, how do I fix this? You don't see the road coming up over the hill that will lead you to greater successes. Here are some tips that will help you overcome this negative self-talk. First, give yourself grace. Like I was telling my engineering friends, hey, humans are built to be fallible for a reason. Having that grace that you're not perfect, that you can see perfection in your head, but you don't have the motor skills, that's okay. I couldn't hover an aircraft. It took me 7 flights to hover an aircraft. If you truly believe you're going to hover that helicopter in the first try, you're stupid. You're unaware. You have to be able to give yourself grace. You have to be able to understand. People develop differently, develop at different times. Evaluate negative thoughts rationally. This is one of the best tools that I've learned lately as I'm dealing with certain challenges in my life, is I have to ask myself, where does this feeling come from? Because if I can identify the root cause of why I'm feeling this anxiousness or why I'm feeling upset or why I'm feeling mad, and I can put a name to it, then I can relate it to where I'm at right now, and then be able to say, oh yeah, these things do not relate, I should not be angry, and I'm able to calm myself out of it. This doesn't make sense because I'm a highly emotional person, but at the same time, understanding that if I can take that step back, ask, why am I feeling like this? Going to, okay, this, that, you realize you're upset over nothing, and then you start calming down. Respond with affirmations of what is good about yourself. Yeah, I can't drive a golf ball 300 yards, but you know what? I got a good short game. Things like that will help you figure out how to compensate for areas you're not doing well in. It allows you to find people that complement your weaknesses with their strengths. Vice versa, as you have strengths that will complement their weaknesses. Finding the good in yourself will help you show others that they can do the same as well. It's catchy, it's effective. Think about the things that you are thankful for your life. You're not understanding how good you really have it. Most of us should be thankful for the ability to have a house, have a job, find food, be able to have a car, be able to have a lifestyle that people in other countries dream about. There are some bad things out there, and there's some people that have it worse off. But for most of us, especially as we're developing to be leaders, we have a lot of things that are good in our lives, and we need to be thankful for what we have in our lives. Be aware of your thoughts. When I'm driving, I've been catching myself lately of using those negative words, especially I hate myself. It's a long, ingrained thing that I've lived with since junior high. It's something that I've always said so much that it's just part of my being. And doing so, it's limited me to what I could have been. Paying attention to how your thoughts are and learning to reword them instead of what's wrong with me, what's right with me? I know, it sounds corny, but what is right with you? It's like when I hear, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. I want to ask, what can I do? Same thing with yourself. If you're thinking to yourself, I can't do this, I can't do that, then ask yourself, what can I do? Understand what triggers you. It goes back to pulling yourself and rationalizing where these emotions come from. If you can figure out what triggers you, you can then go prepared to keep calm. Here's my example. I hate airports. I've been spoiled by being a military pilot where I don't have to go through the same security as everyone else. Now that I'm retired and I'm flying on airliners, I get anxious. I really get upset and nervous around being around that many people with so many possibilities of somebody hurting somebody else. It just makes me sick. This Christmas, I'm aware of it. I know I'm going to hate it. I know how much it's going to make me feel anxious. And all I can say is, everyone is just trying to get home for Christmas. And they're fighting for every inch that they can so they can just get home for Christmas. I'm fine. I'm going to get to my in-laws' house safely. I'm going to be with my wife. She's going to love me for me trying so hard to keep myself calm. And in doing so, I actually will be calm. And I've seen it twice already as I'm preparing myself, talking myself through this. So knowing what triggers you will allow you to be able to identify what it is, be able to put things into context, and give yourself a mantra to chant through to help you get through the day. Switch up your environment. If your environment is just so toxic that the negative talk to you is making you talk negatively to yourself, then get out of there. Get out of that toxic relationship. Get out of that toxic environment. Find somewhere that people appreciate you for who you are, for what you contribute to your organization, especially if you're a leader. If you're a leader, you're the one who ensures that there's a culture of trust. There's no reason for somebody to have negative self-talk. That's your responsibility as a leader. If you're also a leader and you're feeling the toxicity on you, maybe it's time to go lead something else. Lead for somebody else. Stop working for somebody else's promotion. Work for your own promotion. And create a morning routine. It's as simple as something that I learned: create before you consume in social media. As much as I want to go read somebody to be inspired by what their thoughts are, I have got to learn to create first. And by doing so, I'm working on a positive timeline. I'm working on a positive kickstart of the day because I'm creating it. And when I create something, I'm trying to spread love. I'm trying to stay within my core values of adventure, growth, love, things that are positive. And by doing so, I spread that positivity out to the world. So when I get into consumption mode, I'm not getting upset, triggered, or anything by something stupid that somebody with zero life experiences is getting a lot of views on. I don't care because I created what is best for everyone. Now I'm going to turn it to you. What is it that you can do? What can you contribute to this conversation? Put your ideas in the comment section and let us know what you think and how we can learn from you of what your experiences are in this negative self-talk. I'm Eric with Leadership Developed. If you like this video, hey, do us a favor, give us a thumbs up. Tell us that you like what we're talking about here. If you missed this video, it talks about how you can create a culture of trust. Just this one thing will help you be able to create that strong, trusting culture. We'll talk to you next video.